is dirty. Just getting my hair fixed. I did say I would go on at 7 and it is 7 o'clock. So good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be. My hair's a little bit all over the place today. So I have promised you guys to tell you about my story, my addiction. Basically, this is the first time I was told by a friend today that I should write a book about it because it is actually unreal. The things that happen to me, they're very paranormal, very through energy, obviously. So as I had mentioned before, I am very much into, my name is Rana. I am a healer, multiple disciplines. I'm a life coach, and I've been in the music industry for over 22 years as a producer and singer. So, as I said before, just to have a little bit of a recap, I did say that ever since I was little, I used to feel, hear, see things that, your 3-year-old normal child wouldn't unless you knew about it. And it wasn't something that you could approach your family with. So I wanted to discover what that was. And my whole journey was to get me here because my mission is to have the tools to give you guys to heal. But I had to go through a lot and hit rock bottom and fight with dark forces, and other realms, or things that other people wouldn't see. And I know a lot of people won't believe it, but honestly, at this point, you believe what you want to believe. I'm just here to tell my story, to let you know that anything can be cured, that we are the ones who are in control of our future, of our present, and that the past does not define who we are, unless we choose to be victims and remain as victims. And I have chosen to live my life as a warrior, a survivor, and to work on myself, to help myself through everything that I went through, to understand it, to be able to explain it to you. Now, it's easy to say to explain because it's unexplainable really, but it is my path and it is my journey, and I've embraced it, and I'm very grateful for it, because I feel unique in that sense that I was able to I was able to conquer, but also I was able to, I don't know what the exact word is, but I was able to connect, that is, to connect to other worlds and other realms and other energies, whether good or bad or both. So last thing I got to was when I went to Lebanon, I said to you. This was in the year, I believe, 2000. Yeah. And I was supposed to go there for 2 weeks. And I found a furnished apartment building, and it was called the White Diamond. And something attracted me to it. I resonated to it. The second I walked in, I knew that I needed to stay there. There was something for me there, and I wasn't sure what it was. Now, the first thing that happened was when I walked in, the manager there, he seemed a little odd and off to me and possessed, if that makes sense. So I walked up to him and I was just like, look, I don't know who you are. I don't care who you are. I just want you to let you know that I do not want you anywhere near me, to speak to me, or in any way. I said, there's something about you that I'm not trusting. We both come from the same country, and basically, because in Lebanon, they can play around and like it's who you know basically. So I said to him, whoever you know, not that it's a challenge, but I just had a weird. I can read people very very well, and I read him, and there was just something. I want to say I don't want to say evil because I don't want to use that word, but very dark about him. And I knew that this person I did not want to be associated with, and he was the manager of the whole place. So I just said to him, please, if you could show me the house or whatever. And that's that, right? And that's where it all began. So there's 5 floors to this building, and every building has about, on every floor, I'm gonna say 3 apartments. And they're all furnished. And they're mostly for students as the university was close by. Very nice, very beautiful, marble, nice kitchen, this and that. So anyway, I went there for 2 weeks telling my parents that I wanted to learn how to do tattoo, which I did, but my 2 years ended up into 12 because once I got into that building, there was some form of energy that would just not let go of me, and that's where my story began, with more darkness than more darkness as in dark forces and paranormal things happening and stuff. And I remember the first apartment that I went into was number 103, and I'm very much into numbers, so it's like 314, great, yeah. I walked in, loved it, but there was something about the building which for me was just like, okay, what is it? What's going on? There's something that, like, a hidden. The walls had a mystery behind them, and the whole building had a secret to it. And I felt that I was there to figure it out. I didn't know how, why, but I knew that that was my mission at the time. So when I went into the apartment, so you can take the elevator, or I can't remember. No, there is no elevator. You can only take stairs. Every stairway at the end of the stairway was a sketched a sketch of like a house or a building, but almost on every one was the same sort of one, and that like resonated with me, and I was like, okay, there's something, there's something, and I just couldn't quite put my hand on it or my, So anyway, I walked into 103, and I made it my own, my own home. I painted the walls as usual. I started like doing the decorations and all the stuff. And then one night so one day I opened the door, and there's a little white cat, Persian. She was like 6 months old. And I just looked at her and I was like, what the hell is a 6-month-old Persian cat, white, doing in front of my door? So I opened the door, and I spoke to her in Spanish actually. It was really funny. And I said to her, if you do walk in, then you're mine. And when I count to 10, and if you don't, then you're gonna have to go back to where you came from. But like, what are the odds, right? So she came in, beautiful white, blue eyes, gorgeous. And then I picked her up and I took her back to the elevator. Oh, there was an elevator actually. Okay, so there was an elevator. I forgot, because the elevator is not actually the direction of the stairs. It's on the other side. But anyway, and she just came running back into the house. So I called her Kai. Now this cat to me was not just any normal cat, and I knew that this cat came to me for a reason, and I didn't know what that reason was. So I called her Kaya, meaning the queen in Jamaican. Beautiful cat. Anyway, what started happening was, I told you at that time I had started with my addiction. It hadn't gotten bad yet, but a lot of people from the building, and it was mostly students, would walk in and out of my flat, and we'd sit there and we'd have talks, and there's a lot of things going on. And then one night, and that's when it all started. So my cat used to sleep right next. Oh God, this thing keeps sticking to my cat used to sleep on the pillow like this, right next to me. So one night, and the door was not fully close to the bedroom. So you walk in, you have like the kitchenette with the bedroom with the sitting room, and then you have the bedroom, and then inside like a door for the bedroom, and then the bathroom. So one night I was just lying in bed and sleeping, and I used to not close the door fully. This is another story, but something had happened to me when I was 16, and I used to always, because of what happened to me at 16, I, until probably the age of, I'm gonna say, late 30s, I slept with a knife always in my hand, or a hammer or something, and that's a whole different story. But anyway, so I am lying there in bed, and the cat just runs out the door and from the bedroom, and like wow, like that, and I was like, oh my God, what's happening? And I look up and I see, and I swear, I mean, you guys believe it or not, honestly, this is up to you. I see this shadow of a man standing where the bathroom is, very, very tall, like it was not from this world, for sure. And I had seen certain things like that, so it didn't scare me, but I was just like, oh, here we go again. Do you know what I mean? But at this time, now I was like in my late 20s, I was gonna say even early 30s, and it's like, you can't see the face, but all you can see is like a shadow, right? With like a hat, and he like, if I was to describe him, he would probably look like a Dracula like in the shadows, right? And he's just like staring at me. I couldn't see his eyes, but I could feel his energy staring at me. And I was just lying there in bed, and I just looked at him, I was like, what do you want? What do you want? What do you want from me? And then I feel something grab my feet. And it was obviously him. And then I remembered I started like praying. And I just looked at him and I said, you know what? You don't scare me. I have God. I have faith. And then something said to me, and I thought maybe it was me telling myself, but now I understand that it was a sign from God, whispering in my ear, this is not your place. Instead of fearing and being like, get the hell out, I just took a breather, prayed, and I was like, God, please tell me, what do I do in this situation? And I just looked at him, and I was like, you don't scare me. You don't belong here. And you need to leave and go into the light or wherever you need to go. But this is not your space. This is my space. Thank you and goodbye. And you guys, I swear to God, he'd left. But it doesn't mean he didn't come back, because a lot of weird things were happening in this apartment. And see, the thing is, cats catch on to this stuff. And I believe that this cat came, Kaya, to help me. See, because they usually get possessed, cats. She didn't. To me, she was almost like human or from somewhere else, because I just knew that I was sent this cat, who was not a cat, this beautiful soul of wisdom and light into my life to help me through what I was supposed to go through in that moment and at that time of period in my life. So So Kaya, when I said that, I was like looking for her, and she was like in the corner of the kitchen, just like all huddled up like that. And I just held her, and went back into the room, and she felt safer. So obviously he was gone. But several incidents happened like that, and for me to find out about things, I started, because paint is energy, and so what I started doing was every time I felt some kind of energetic force, whether it being light or dark, just to understand it, I would paint the walls. Now I would paint the walls, and I think I've told you this before, not like paint them as in one color, like just take paint and just whatever it was with two hands, like, and the things that would come up, like when the paint dries, and the walls were telling the stories of the secret of this building. And I have pictures, I don't anymore. Even my brother has pictures, he won't show them to me. But anyway, so this is how I was discovering the house, and things like that kept happening. And that's when I decided that, you know what, I need to integrate music into this, and start doing my music. And I knew that it was not the substances that I was taking that was making me, to make it clear, because a lot of people are going to be like, okay, get off the whatever. No, I was actually sincerely feeling these energies, seeing them soberly. So what I would do is I would get more intoxicated, so that I thought, oh my God, because it would take me to another range of reality in my head, to be able to understand what it is that is happening and why it's happening. So a year went by, and a lot of things were happening, believe me, and the paint was changing. And when I say changing, it had like pictures started appearing, faces started showing, like as if it was a story in itself. And it was, and like every time I travel, when I come back, the walls would look different. They had a different story to tell. So when I would play the music that I had made, I wanted to see how the actual art, or the painting, but it looked like I was a great freaking artist, because literally what the paint was turning into was unreal. I couldn't even believe it myself. Like, wow, I'm that good, But it was actually all energetic. And when I started playing my music, and my first song was Serenity, and it's on YouTube, Amazon, Spotify, everywhere. It's on my latest album called Rain. The song Serenity. It was the first song that I ever wrote, actually, for my daughter. So when I started playing the music, it like started shifting from darkness into light. So that's where I started learning about frequency with music, and frequency with vibration and light, and just trying to understand this world that of course I've remembered, because our souls remember everything, but that I had to remember and understand. So I stayed there for a few years in that specific, in 103, until one day when I left, I gave the cat to a neighbor of mine, and I said, please, he was on the 10th floor actually, 5th floor, I'm sorry, and I was on the 1st floor, and I was like, please, because he had other cats, and it turned out that that cat came from him. It was some whatever story. Anyway, when I came back, he would not let me know where my cat was. And I kept calling her and calling. And later, 10 days after I got back, I found out that Kaya had jumped off the 5th floor from his balcony and had fallen right where between my balcony, like right underneath, and had died, obviously, thankfully. So I took her to the doctor, whatever, but obviously there was something in that building that was making these animals go crazy, because also his cats were going crazy. So I brought Kaya back, and then I had to unfortunately leave for a while. But I was going to come back, but my mother wouldn't let me take the cat, so I gave her to the veterinarian, you know what I mean, yeah, that one, and asked him to find her a good family and everything. And this is where I'll stop the story. When I came back to finding myself that this guy that was the manager had moved me to the 3rd floor. And when I walked in, I freaked out. I'm gonna leave it there. I freaked out. That's all I'm gonna say. And I'll see you next Sunday or Saturday. I'll let you guys know for the rest. I love you all. I hope you guys will be there to share the story with me and hear it. I love you. Give yourself a hug. Namaste. Spread the energy. I'll see you next time.